Jason Dorfman, General Manager of the Jacquard Hotel. Welcome on the Business Brief.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Jason, the Jacquard is a modern, contemporary hotel known for hosting the business traveler as well as local professionals in Denver's Cherry Creek area. However, this pandemic has spared no business, and the hospitality and leisure industry has been amongst the hardest hit, with the industry on average in Colorado experiencing a decline of 40 to 44% in the occupancy levels in 2020. How is the Jacquard doing now as opposed to during the height of the pandemic?
Yeah, well, certainly, at the height of the pandemic, we were in the single digits for occupancy, down over 95% year over year in revenue from 2020 to 2019. It just was decimating our industry. We're certainly in a much better position. Currently, most of our business is leisure, and we're in a much better position than we were at the height of, the pandemic in April. However, we're still down 60% to 2019 levels. So we're not going to be at full recovery until business travel and group business really starts coming back.
Now, the economy, speaking of coming back, is showing signs of recovery and what looks to be the final few months of the pandemic. Hotels seem to be coming along slowly. Data suggests people want to travel again as soon as they feel safe, and business meetings look to be increasingly in demand. Are you optimistic for growth ahead, and why or why not?
Yeah, I mean, certainly we're very optimistic. The restaurants are very, very busy. Our restaurants have been doing extremely well the last 6 weeks. I think that's the canary in the coal mine. What's the first thing you do when you feel comfortable, when you get a shot in the arm? You're probably going to go out to a restaurant or bar and see some friends and family you haven't seen in a while. And what's the second thing you're going to do? You're probably going to get on a plane, you're going to travel. Certainly there's a lot of pent up leisure demand still to be had, and we're optimistic about that. And then I think as corporations start allowing their employees to come back in the office, independent business travel will start recovering probably early to midsummer. And then hopefully by Q3 and Q4, some of those larger conventions and groups really start booking back to our hotels.
Yeah, I can tell you as an entrepreneur myself, I know I'm looking forward to traveling for business meetings. I think we've talked about this in the past. There's just quite nothing that replaces that face-to-face, that opportunity to really engage one another and understand the feel of a room and hopefully be able to make deals and business happen, create jobs, put people back to work and grow.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
all right, let's talk hotel customer and guest experiences. What can customers expect from the Jacquard and other hotels in the months ahead to attract their business?
Yeah, I mean, cleanliness and safety was at the forefront all last year, and for good reason. And I think that'll continue. I think that's going to be one of those things post-pandemic that'll be part of the new normal. However, what we're really excited for is to get back to having those activations and those experiences and those things that we do at the hotel and in the restaurant that really provide this memorable experience. And nothing can replace it. And so, as people feel more comfortable and as restrictions start easing, we're really looking forward to fully activating the hotel again.
Yeah, with that rooftop area you guys have, I got a feeling that a lot of people want to get back to having that experience of enjoying the outdoors in Cherry Creek and the company of friends and other associates. So I can only imagine the level of experiences you guys are planning for your guests in the months ahead. Jason,
Yeah, we have a lot of
finally,
big plans ahead, so stay tuned.
I'm sure. Finally, I believe you were the very first employee of the Jacquard Hotel. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
Yeah.
you've also been in the hospitality industry for years. I want to know from a both professional and personal perspective, what lessons from this pandemic will you, as a hospitality leader, use to be even better and to shape your industry?
Yeah, I thought I was entrepreneurial before the pandemic, but this pandemic has really enlightened me into what we can do to, literally save a business. And so we certainly had gotten very scrappy and entrepreneurial. And I think some of those things that we've learned will remain with me as a leader. But more importantly, being that authentic, empathetic leader that I had to be over the last 13 months will remain. And, that ability to effectively communicate challenging messages, but delivering the facts to your associates is really important in times of crisis. And above all, I think hopefully we can put this behind us. But there's certainly going to be, this lessons that I've learned that will stick with me forever in terms of crisis management.
Yeah, authenticity. That's certainly one of those characteristics that I found over the years is a differentiator in leaders. When you're able to see who's genuine and frankly, who's not. Jason Dorfman with the Jacquard Hotel. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me on.